Hi guys, this week's Pizza of the Week is probably going to make a couple of you a bit squeamish, but those who know are going to love it. And that's because we have snails. Escargot, if you will. Now, I haven't really cooked any snails since my fine dining days, but I'll put you through the process here. Here, in the pot, I have just melted a fair bit of garlic butter, which of course, this being Stones, is real garlic butter that we make ourselves with real butter. To this, I'm going to add some finely chopped shallots. I'm just going to let that cook up a little bit. But now, we're going to just add the snails to the garlic butter and shallots, and we're just going to cook them for a couple of minutes. They start to shrink up a little bit. Now we're going to pull these out and put them aside. Next up is the mushrooms. To which we're going to add some fresh goon right out of the teat. Whoops. And we're just going to let that cook and reduce down. Now, the butter is starting to foam a little bit on top, and so the mushrooms are cooked down. We're going to pull those out. The mushrooms have left behind a fair bit of liquid too, so we're going to reduce that down. And of course, there's still wine to reduce down. But before we do that, we'll pull these mushrooms out. And for this pizza, for the Pizza of the Week, we're actually going to use forest mushrooms, but for this particular instance, I'm just going to use these, which are porcini mushrooms. And the reason I'm using the porcini mushrooms now is because all the forest mushrooms are up at North Perth and we're here in Canning Vale. But for the sake of showing you roughly what we're doing, cook these mushrooms in here as well. And now we're just going to let this reduce for a little while before going on to the next step. Okay, so a lot of the moisture has evaporated now, we've reduced. And next thing is double smoked bacon, which of course we did ourselves. Just a little stir around, and then some cream. Okay, then we're just going to bring that to a boil, and then we'll be ready to go. Now it's starting to thicken up a little bit, and just to finish it off, a good healthy handful of chopped parsley, and we're ready to go. With this Pizza of the Week, we're journeying to the south of France, where the escargot pizza is actually quite popular. Now we start off with our sauce, which has got the bacon in it, and we're going to keep it quite thin, because it is very rich. So it's just adding a little bit of moisture, but a whole lot of flavor. Next up, we have pickled white anchovies. Now these are beautiful. And we're just gonna break them in little pieces. Because they're slightly vinegary, they give us that little sharp little bite that cuts through the richness of the cream and the butter. Will be our cooked mushrooms. Again, they're cooked down, so they're quite concentrated in flavor. And then well, like I said, in this case, we're using porcini mushrooms. But when we actually make the pizza, we'll have the forest mushrooms, which have got a much wider scope of textures. Some of the, like the woodier ones are a little bit crunchy, and they've got some really earthy, great flavors. Now, of course, the escargot themselves. 12 pieces of the escargot, followed by our cheese, which is a blend of Gruyere cheese and provolone. Now, to finish up, just to add a dash of color and a little bit of freshness to this rich pizza, some fresh diced tomato. There it is, ready for the oven. There you have it. One gourmet escargot pizza. So just to finish it off, a little spring onion, just to give us a little crunch, a little zip, and there you go. So, like we said, you can't get pizza anywhere else like this. Now a good beer to pair this up with that works with the flavors of the mushrooms and the escargot itself would be the James Squire Nine Tails Amber Ale, or failing that, the Stowaway IPA is a great beer for this. Or for a wine, a Pinot Gris would go very nicely with this. Now, I'm a big fan of the Snails, and I'm quite familiar with it, but the kiwi here is a little uncertain, so...
It's been a long while since I've tried to taste it, but I think I'll give it a whirl.
Tasty little slugs.
It's actually pretty good. It's actually very good.